because we're
I completely agree with you, Shannon. Yeah.
Shannon, can you repeat what you just said about our
Yes.
sovereignty is directly related to?
So our sovereignty is directly related to our self-authenticity.
Yes, thank
If
you.
we cannot be authentic with ourselves and we cannot own our own part in our past, then we cannot be sovereign, because then what we're sovereign on is a lie. And
Exactly.
so we definitely need to own our stuff, own our part in our past, and it is actually part of moving out the cycle of being a victim. And when we can move out that cycle of being a victim, we can be sovereign. And that's, that's part of what's going on at this moment. But to add to that, somebody had mentioned to me today, they said, yes, we can be sovereign. Yes, we can have that, but people don't care about your sovereignty. And is everybody there? I got
yeah.
People don't genuinely, at this moment, because they're doing their things, they don't genuinely care about your sovereignty. And they don't care about your sovereignty because right now what they're fighting is their fear, and they're in survival mode. They're in the basic mode. And when you're in that, you're fighting their survival mode. And that's an instinct that we have. And so a lot of us will, argue our points until we're blue in the face, both sides, right? And we're getting nowhere. And what happens is that the getting nowhere, you begin to attack the person, because then it's like, if you're not hearing my point of view, I'm just going to attack who you are. And that right there shows that survival instinct turns into I'm going to protect myself, and I'm going to protect what I value at all costs. That could be considered sovereignty, but it isn't, because that right there is, I'm going to protect it at any cost. I don't care what you feel. And if you can be sovereign in yourself, but the thing is that we need to be sovereign as a society. So we can have our own authenticity, but we also need to respect other people's sovereignty.
Yeah, Shannon, and I think that comes with that understanding that actually the sovereignty doesn't mean that we're separated completely. Like, we can be sovereign and still have a sense that we are coming from the same source. Yeah, that you're God, I'm God. We have our own connections to the higher authority, the higher light, the higher heavens, but that, it doesn't, I don't know, there's something about a respect for the sovereignty in terms of knowing that we are all divine. Like that piece of bringing in this place where we can come as a society to understand and grapple with this idea of God, or a God, or the God in a more universal sense, so that there isn't fighting even around that. Yeah. So that there's not my God, your God, but what, I think things may be coming that will hopefully be showing our society that, we all have to come to a place of helping and understanding one another to just get through what's happening. And so we know that we are all of the same human design or expression, which is an expression of God, of a higher force. So somehow that piece, I think, will help maybe the sovereignty to land and be more seen and more respected as, of course, you have your sovereignty, as in I have mine. We're just respecting the same thing in each other.
And I agree with you. And the one thing that I want to add to that too is that when we are authentic in ourselves, when we step out of the victim or the energy of victimhood, and we are into our sovereignty, if we are not a victim of anybody else around us, we can then release our ego, which then allows for the person their space to be sovereign, because we are strong within ourselves, that we don't have to impose our viewpoints on somebody else, because we know our truth. We are sovereign. We are owning our own stuff, and no one is minimizing us. And
Yeah.
so then we can respect the others, which creates the unity. So I
Yeah.
agree with you on that one completely. Anybody else have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, my friend Jenna jumped on. Today's her birthday. And
Jenna!
she just her screen. Happy birthday, Jenna. And
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Jenna!
on the topic of sovereignty and coupling in with interference, she's got some major issues parallel to mine, and I'm just going to stick a pin in it. Jenna, I just chatted with John. We could definitely help you with that after this call. So if you want to stay on this call and do this work with us, then I mean our collective work, then great. And if you want to hunker down and get ready for me afterwards, that's fine too. It's your choice, but you always add so much value to these calls. I hope you feel welcomed and empowered to stick with us. I know you have a lot on your so however you want to move forward is good. Are you good?
Might sign off because I'm at the beach with friends for my birthday. So
Yeah.
I signed on just because of a specific thing. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull off for now, but I just do want to offer and extend to all of you whatever energy I can.
Awesome.
Just
So
know-
just leave it with us.
Just know-
Just leave it with us.
Yeah.
I honor you and your work.
As soon as we're done with this,
Okay, I'll wait for your call then.
okay, happy birthday.
Thank you. And yes, blessings on all of you. Sorry to intrude, but
Noted.
Okay.
Noted.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's the thing, gang. Like we can talk about sovereignty all day long, but there are, my team calls it dastardly darkness. Like they're full throttle right now and doing
Yeah.
anything and everything to slow us down. And the more powerful you are, the harder they're going to hit you, Jenna. So yeah, so go protect yourself, and I'll circle back for you. But we just cannot negate or be oblivious to the many forces doing full out right now. It is full out. So yeah. So
what do we take on today? So I also want to mention that I have to be on another call at right after this, like around 12.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be on there now, but I chose to be here.
So
And
remember, we're supposed to continue the work from last week. We're
Yeah,
supposed
right.
to
Well,
post that back on the channel again.
good.
Valerie, yes, I agree. I think that, and that's what I heard. We have to do the past, present, and future cycling 3 times.
Yeah.
So we have it 2 more times.
All right.
Who would like to, especially since I'm driving, who would like to talk us back into getting to our space?
Christina, would you like to give a whirl?
Oh, no, not yet. I'm not ready for that.
All right, well, I'll do it. If everybody could just take a nice deep cleansing breath. I like to grab my energy from the bottom of my feet and pull it up the back side of my body. Reaching up, up, up through the crown, all the way up to source. I like to throw a hook line in there and then rappel back down the front of my body. We're missing Callum, that's who's missing. And then bring it back up into the heart space.
I'll text him.
And then I release a nice deep thought of love and compassion. And where's Ashika too? She's the eloquent one in the group. And then as we begin a rhythmic cycling of that breath, remembering the different areas of the heart, opening up that back door, creating that torsion field with the infinity signs, getting that energy flowing omnidirectionally all the way around your body, expanding it outside of your core body. And at this time, I invite you to connect with your higher self. Declare, I am my I am presence. Woo! That's what that's like for me. Woo! Woo! Call in your team and spirit of the highest resonance. My team. Whew. Call in all of your other aspects that you are aware of. I call in Stella from New Lemuria. She calls in the elementals and the dragons. You should feel that coming in. Galactic councils. Ariana, connect with the Galactic Federation. They have our backs. Thank you. Donna. Whew. You guys feel that? Yay!
Yeah.
And let's call in all the archangels. Everybody call in your favorites. My favorites are Raguel and Sophia and Azrael and Metatron and Zadkiel. I know that's one of your favorites, Christina, and Jophiel. Forget Gabriel and Raphael and Uriel.
Calling in Sandalphon.
Sandalphon. All aboard on the
Archangel
ascendant.
Michael.
Remain. Michael.
4 point angels. Ultraviolet angels.
And all of the other company of heaven to join us on this extremely important work right now.
Calling in Pele and the divine feminine. Magdalene. Isis. Yeah, there you go. Welcome, ladies.
You should be very, very full right now.
All the Marys.
All the Marys.
And divine masculine.
We need the divine masculine. We need it very bad.
I call it John. That's my guy. Woo.
So what we're gonna do today, is kind of like what we did on Thursday, we're gonna tap into the timeline, past, present, and future. Knowing that past, present, and future exist all at the same time, we're going to look at the cycles that have been created that are creating our present issues at this moment. Then we're going to look into the future part of it and see what has worked to resolve it so that we can plug that into the now, so that things can begin to resolve, so that we can clear the road for the timeline to set in nice and neat and allow for bigger, better, more spectacular, in the highest, most best supportive energy. And so what we're going to do is we're going to imagine being in the universe. So if you can kind of allow yourself to just be transported to what looks like stars and galaxy, and you're just floating in the middle of all of it. When all of you are there, let me know.
John, can we just jump in the middle? Okay.
When you're there, just say yes.
Shannon, give me a boost.
What was that?
I said, give me a boost. I'm almost there, but I can't quite get there.
Okay, got you.
And
Let me
when
know
we
when you're
do
there.
stuff,
I'm going to boost everybody, and when you're there, I need a yes.
Yes.
Yes. I
Yes.
literally got boosted up like a. That's
Yes.
fun.
I also hit the serotonin on most people there too. Okay, so then what we're gonna do is we're gonna imagine those stars starting to move. And they're moving, and let's say they're circling around you, and they're gonna get faster and faster to where you're starting to just see streaks. When you get to that point, just say yes.
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 I boosted it a little. So then what we're going to have is in front of us, we're going to have 3 projector screens. So they're not screens like TVs. They have soft edges. So the one to the left is going to be past. The one to the middle is going to be present. And the one to the right is going to be future. And what I would like you to do is just take a few minutes to kind of take a look at the patterning of what's going on right now, and take a look at the patterning in the past and in the present, and let's identify some of the key issues that are causing these cycles. As soon as you got it, start to speak.
What's immediately coming up for me is what we were talking about the like domination of women and women not having a voice. Like women not being able to speak up. So lots of throat chakra stuff. And also something about women expressing anger, like it's not okay for women to express anger. When they express anger, it's interpreted as they're a bitch, or people don't like them, or they shy away from them, or their anger is always subject to judgment.
So is their strength.
Yes.
I love the woman piece.
Their voice.
I really do feel like that's a very strong piece. I want to include, but I want to include all pieces. So
Right.
I'd like to include the child piece of that.
Yeah.
Where if children express anger, they're reprimanded, right? Because they're not allowed to be angry. They're not allowed to voice themselves. They're only supposed to be seen and not heard. How many times have we heard that if we've been growing up, right? Be seen and not heard. The male children are not supposed to express their emotions. They're not supposed to cry. They're not supposed to be anything but cool, calm, and collected and make it happen. So there's oppression on all sides.
Yeah, Shannon, what I'm seeing is the whole being as a child not being able to access the feminine side to express, or the masculine side to express in a balanced way, where they have male role models or female role models, that it's a manipulation where they're being pulled to express maybe more one way and only a specific way that is acceptable, when maybe there's a buried way of expression and a different energy for that child to come out. Like I see this almost like the cracking of an egg that needs to happen so that the being can be balanced, male and female, and that we are allowing, and society is able now to take down all the stereotypes and allow any expression of male or female, whether the gender is male or female, but the expression needs to be allowed in a feminine way or a masculine way, which is in a natural way and allowed without any outer forcing or manipulation.
Yes. The other thing that I'm seeing is that, I mean, we have both sides, right? In our bodies, whether we're female or male, we have the divine feminine and divine masculine. We have both sides inside of us. So having that and honoring that, and honoring the freedom of expression, the freedom of truly owning your emotions and feeling them and experiencing them. The other part of that, and this is what I'm getting as kind of maybe the bigger picture, and I would love some help with this, is oppression. The bigger picture here is to make sure that you oppress yourself enough so that you aren't really seen, heard, or valued, so that you just stay quiet and you just stay in the shadows because maybe you don't matter, or people are feeling like they don't matter.
Yeah. And And maybe that's the egg, the cracking that I'm seeing is this like the softening energy, the divine feminine coming and landing and melting the hearts of like this hard male viewpoint that's sort of like been a capstone to be judged in this male way that completely softens. There's almost like I see the egg cracking on top of like this hard rubble of stone, and the egg energy melts the stone to a place where it can yield and allow where that male energy has to admit too that it is not the strongest, that it also is love and has love and it will yield to love. It's that the feminine yielding force holding all of the masculine energy like a baby and becoming the most strongest now over the male, so that there's not that pushing anymore, but we have a yielding energy of the feminine, of the love, of opening, of receptivity to each other and to the world, and to seeing nature as this blanket of holding us, and that we're not dominating it in this masculine way, but that we're coexisting with this whole feminine, divine feminine blanket. I see melting all of the hardness.
Oh, so beautiful. So, so what I'm seeing of that is, so the divine feminine, the feminine is how both feminine and masculine get incarnated onto the earth plane, and that when we incarnate and come out of the womb, that's when we're closest to source energy. So tapping back to what Shannon was saying before about owning our stuff, owning our path, that our sovereignty relates to our authenticity, that those that experience oppression, this is why we came into the physical body, is to, learn the lessons, to have the healing, to grow and expand, and remember that love is who we are and where we came from, and to like return to love, return to source. And but while we're still in the physical body. So I don't know, there's something about that of like, as you were describing it, I was just getting this very clear, like the portal that is the womb of creation.
Ooh,
We've
yeah,
lost love. That's the problem.
yeah,
That's the main thing that's missing is love, and love through touch, feel, communication. All
And
this,
unconditional love.
yeah, conditional, but all this technology and everything, and all this bad energy is separating everybody,
yeah,
and that's causing the darkness right now. It's the separation, the fighting, the technology not allowing us to be together. So our energy is almost like pheromones. When we're with another person, we can sense everything and our bodies can feel it, and then it can dissipate the bad and the good comes out. But right now, all that's being suppressed. And that love, that's the main thing I'm getting right now, is we've got to put the love back. Got to unlock the energies and put the love back.
yeah. And I'm seeing actually that the dark is coming up to be transmuted.
Yeah.
To as it's information, so we can make decisions to choose love, so that it's not actually a force to fight against in any way. It's consciousness asking to be enlightened and opened and seen, to be healed. And so any fight, even a fight internally, is a fight not, that will not, it's still opposition. So to take away the opposition and see all of it as consciousness, all of it as God, coming up for transmutation, coming up for a re-examination, of pulling apart to make new choices that are based on self-love, love of anything that occurs, anything that happens, like the losing of the wallet, and seeing that as, oh, okay, a choice. Wow, a new choice. Thank you. So everything, even though it may seem dark, brings an opportunity for a choice of how to perceive it, how to act or not act, or see it as something that can just be loved. Maybe we just have to stay in love in ourselves and in anything that we see in the world as needing more love. And how would that feel?
There's something very powerful about that. And I think, Jules, you had mentioned this. You had said the word womb. And if we think about when we as beings felt the safest, when we felt the most amount of comfort, the most amount of love was in the womb.
Yes.
And so, and we did not feel oppression there. We were safe, but we were sovereign, right? That was our beginning of our sovereignty. Yes, a lot of us were empaths and absorbed a lot of stuff, but that's beside the point. So maybe what we need to do, and I definitely want some feedback on this, and we're going to look into the future, but maybe what we need to do is create the energy of the security of and safety and love and nurturing of the womb.
Yeah.
And put that into the grid.
Yes.
What do you think?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
I think a huge piece that needs to be brought up is that there's been a full throttle attack on the sacred feminine, on the womb energy, on the sexual energy. And so divine feminine, divine masculine, they can coexist just fine, but there's been a whole onslaught of external forces that have been manipulating mostly the divine masculine energy to thwart it into an abusive nature that was not the intent of the divine masculine, but they were taken over by these malevolent energies. And I just think that needs to be addressed, because I think that's a huge part of this equation that we're not discussing. And so there's been a huge quest to remove those aspects. And now that those have been lifted and transmuted, it's not completed, but it's about done, because men would not act as the oppressors without an undue influence. I don't think it's in our name without the undue influence of the other forces. I know for me, well, never mind, that's snuggle time. But anyway, I think we need to address that in our truest form, we know what to do. But it's been the onslaught of the nefarious forces trying to suppress that feminine energy, usurp it, and actually use it as their own energy source, so that we've been denied our own sexual power, and we've been taught that sexual power is not clean or pretty or whatever. You can insert whatever you want, because it's seen as an energy force. And when we can actually regain that energy force and be in the divine union, that's when we have unlimited, unrestricted divine power to infinity and beyond. And that's what struggle of humanity has been since day one, from my perspective.
How do you...
I agree, and I actually feel that because we're moving into sovereignty and because we're moving into self-authenticity, the outside external forces we are no longer a victim of. And so we can sit there in our energy and regain our whatever it is that we gave away. Because I will say, yes, there are forces that have created this. Yes, there are forces that have harmed us and hurt us and all that kind of stuff. But until we take back our personal power and take back our personal sovereignty and really begin to support other people in their sovereignty, we will continue in this victim state. And so it's time for us to stand up really and say, enough, right? Enough. We're not going to participate in the bully's game anymore. We're going to get our sovereignty. We're going to respect other people's sovereignty. We're going to help people get into their authenticity, and let's move forward as a stronger, more cohesive group.
Yes, I agree 100%. But part of sovereignty is understanding where you could have been impacted and get around that and over it and move forward and understand that you can combat and win, basically. Are you okay, Val?
Yes.
Valerie.
Oh,
So,
is it now this happened last time. It's while we're out here, something keeps grabbing me.
Okay, hold on. Okay. All right, whatever's grabbing on Valerie.
Do we need to bring her some help, energy?
oh shit, I've already gotten it. I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sandy and Shannon are doing it.
And you know, I absolutely adore Sandy's warriorness, because that's my nature as well, is the warrior. and so you know, we want to identify those darn scoundrels and just throttle them, you know.
So, but
that warriorness is fun.
But isn't it also that the only way to acknowledge that they're not wanted, that we believe their energy is not of the light, is we have to see it completely. Yeah, maybe that's why it is all being shown to us, because as it comes up and is shown and it's in our consciousness, to look like what I was told as even just a young girl is, if it, you know, you have a nightmare or something comes, you look at it, you face it, and you say, I do not believe in you. You are not, you have no power. Go back to the light. You are still of God. Just go back to God and leave me alone. So that we have maybe a way we can consciously stand up to it, not as a battle, not as the warrior. To even stand there in front of it takes that warrior energy, but then also to say, I see you, you are not of God, go back to the light and be gone.
And yes, I think that's the entire key, right? Is being aware that it's there, recognize it, and then handle it and not hide behind it. And if I could just make one plea to every energy healer out there, when you approach things, send it directly to the light, just like you said, back to source. I get really annoyed when people are like, I put it into Mother Earth, I sent it over here. They're just gonna come back. Where is it gonna come right back? So please,
back to the light.
It to source, or it will come right back. People are so surprised. Oh, it's back. No shit, Sherlock. Send it to source. Anywho, I'm gonna keep Valerie. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Oh yeah. We went immediately over there and pulled her out.
It's all the talk, because I'm looking at past, I can see where the problems have been, where the male energy forgot about the female and forgot to be the yin and the yang, and it became like the spoiled child, and it started to play with the dark, and then it influenced. I can see when it began. Cycle in each.
Well, not beautiful. It's not beautiful. All right. So what's the next step then? We can see it. And
now we go into the future. Now we go into the future and we say, okay, if we're going to put this, let's say the womb possibility and the acknowledgement, but also to look in the future and see, how is this resolved? What options do we have to put into the now that can create a resolution now?
It's the harmony of the divine feminine and masculine without the negative interference and a full alignment with source. or simply the awareness of it being there, and how to face it, handle it, and move forward, continue moving forward, and so that you're not a victim. It's not a threat. We have the power to overcome it. It's just the awareness that you're not a victim.
And then for women too, as we are coming together in groups and more are heard and seen and coming to support one another, that women can talk about the trauma and transmute it, but without without so much of a fight, but with more of a understanding of, this was a time in our history and our past. We're moving into a clearing and a lightening, that this energy is going to be seen and put back to the lights. We don't need to condemn it. We don't need to point fingers. We don't need to stay in a judgment or a fight or flight mentality, but we could settle in the knowing of the wisdom of the feminine and be forgiving of all of that the masculine had to go through, that we forgive any of the evil, even though it was horrible. But there has to be I feel the battle scenario won't continue. There's somehow a forgiving of all of the evil that the strange and weird oppression of that male energy needs to be forgiven, like a baby, for it to transmute itself. I'm seeing.
Yep. 100%. And I always say, if somebody's not acting like a human, acting inhumanely, they're probably being influenced by something that's not human, right? So it's very you forgive the human, right? You just need to simply remove the piece that's altering their perception, altering their behaviors, because at the core, we are God energy. It's when we get manipulated and distorted that our behaviors change. So forgive, absolutely. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm introducing into the space the frequency of forgive. And I started to see in my mind the flower of life again, going back to that, or that it made itself known or present. There's something about that of like being the origin of life.
Ah.
But I saw it like exponentially. It was like weird. It was like peaks and points that were growing and expanding, and it was a golden light, but it was a flower of life that was golden. It was moving.
We need to follow that up with love.
Go ahead.
We need to follow that up with love. That through that forgiveness, that getting that male child to behave and become part of that yin and yang again, we need to make sure that the love, communication.
Yeah.
So you just said, when you just said communication, like ripples went through my whole body. So there's something about communication as well in the future, or moving forward, or from this point forward, is being able to communicate our feelings in a healthy way for both the masculine and feminine, and have voices be heard, have voices be respected, have our feelings and our voice acknowledged, and to be able to give space to it. Not as long as we're not harming ourselves or someone else, it's okay. It's all okay.
Oh, I'm seeing that flower of life too, in many colors, pulsing like a heartbeat.
Now we can add that to what we put in on Thursday and it'll help it. Or we'll switch everything. But there's only two paths that we can do.
The two paths being,
The one we've set, or the other one really doesn't look right. Looks like we need to put this into what we've set. And that we also need to put in there the healing of not only the masculine and the feminine, but of the earth.
yeah. Oh, the earth is healing her own masculine. Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And when we push, Christina, I hate to tell you, you're still anchor. Because where you're at, you can push it through the waters, you can push it through the wind.
Whoa.
So something to aid you with that as well, Christina, is the Schumann resonance is really high right now. So I would recommend playing a frequency as well.
Okay.
The grids. Yeah. I'm seeing like different parts of the earth, the grids and different parts of the earth that were dormant, getting energy. Like, and it's like puzzle pieces right now. Trying to shift and come into alignment through the crystalline grid.
Hold on a second. I think you can share this.
During menopause, estrogen drops.
Sorry.
I was just asking the Galactic Federation if there's anything we could add. They just said, keep going, keep going. We're magnifying everything you're doing. So keep going.
Mm.
And John, you're being hand as well. Yes. And the Pleiadians are doing their thing.
Yeah, it's rolling. It's just like a rolling symphony all at play here. Oh, there's so much good.
Keep going.
I'm introducing underneath, I'm playing the Schumann resonance. So you know it is 732, I believe is the 732 code.
Wow.
This is for grounding, well-being, stability. This is pure resonance. The grid is digging it.
It's like a party.
It's totally like a party.
So what do you guys see? I love hearing what you guys can see.
There's just lots of like light movement, vibration. It's like the grid itself is like pulsing now.
Yeah.
And very much like how the womb or the entrance to the womb can pulse and contract in birth and in pleasure. It's like the grid to me is doing that. It's like undulating these like pulsing waves.
All right, so something that Julie and I learned in our 7-week yoni egg class that she's now doing again, that I may jump into as well. When you're doing your breathing, if you can make a conscious effort to breathe in kind of through your breasts and then cycle that energy down and then cycle it through your yoni, it's going to make it even that much more powerful. Come on, girls.
Oh yeah.
Can you feel that shift?
Yeah.
That's how I learned to do the orbital breathing, but I do it differently. I breathe in from the yoni. And
However it
then-
works. Okay, let's breathe into the yoni.
yeah.
As long as you're hitting your female organs, that's the key.
We're moving earth and wind and water. We still need to move a little bit more of the fire. And I think that'll
help us magnify the fire. Okay.
Okay, so that's where Pele's coming in. Like she's right on it.
Yeah, I'm sitting on this gravel and this amazing piece of green glass was just revealed to me out of the rubble. And it probably is glass, but it is so green. It's this light, amazing, beautiful green that I know is present around the crater of Pele, this green glass.
So there's something about the glass being heat resistant, which is wanting to get expressed right now of like, as soon as Pele came, I was like, oh my gosh, volcanic, like the lava can be destructive and it can be too much, right? So we're wanting to unleash that. And in the same way that Gaia needs it to be unleashed. And
Yeah.
in the least destructive way as possible.
Yes.
And as Gaia needs it to be released. Wow, my throat is really like.
Yeah.
I call upon the network of dragons to help regulate the heat.
Yes,
Adding
thank you.
needed.
just remember it creates, just like all four elements together, create and heal. Now it just looks like a big painting if you're looking from space down. Everything's swirling in color.
Mm-hmm.
The light is becoming more intense around it. Now it's getting that golden hue with the fire around it.
So I'd like to take this moment to invite in the higher selves of any other light workers, healers, energy workers, star seed, star family that are doing this work right now, particularly around this full moon and this energy that is happening right now, as we're all sensitive to it right now. Please join us in the grid and join us in this energy.
I'm hearing a rattle sound or something keeping a rhythmic beat, a drum, a rattle.
Like a Native American type thing.
Yeah, because I was right at the crater of Pele.
Mm.
And it's like the ancestors, the Hawaiian elders are helping.
I'm getting this gesture, like this, like.
Those of you that can see, can you do me a favor and look around and see if you see any aardvark looking creatures? They could be in craft. They're in the process of retreating. I'm going to send them love and compassion. They're just one of many layers that have been slowing this process down.
I'm not seeing that. I'm grid all day right now.
Okay, stay on the grid. Stay on the grid. We have our own little swing going. It's okay. And this is the commander of the aardvark species right here. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your retreat. It'll just take some time. Thank you.
We love you. We're sorry. Please forgive us. Thank you.
Anybody else getting a heart?
Pardon?
Is anybody else getting a heavy heart, like a heaviness in your chest?
Mm-hmm. Just gotta keep moving that energy.
I'm actually, I'm above the grid in the, if you want to call it the spherical field energy. That's what I've been working on.
I don't know, but I'm keep getting messages. I keep hearing like come home, come home, come home. I don't know if that means anything to you guys or the grid, but I keep hearing that.
It's so funny you say that. Yesterday I was working with somebody and she actually said, I have a message to you from Gabriel. And he keeps saying, go home, come home.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
I got
funny that you said
go-
that.
Yeah, I got the go home first time, and then I keep hearing repeating, come home, search for me. I don't know what that was about.
There's so I'm right there with you, Shannon, because that's our whole thing is yeah. Coming home.
Christina, I think it's because you're the anchor and it wants everything to come home, to come back to love, to serenity,
Yeah.
to balance.
And harmony.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree with you, Valerie.
All right, how are we doing on time, guys?
It looks like it's almost pushed this time.
Yeah, it's about time for us to be bringing it to completion.
How are we feeling about completion? Did we get enough done? I know it's all been augmented and let's see, do we need to lock it in? Yes, all right. Let's just take a second to lock it in and kind of cauterize. We're not cauterize, it's not the right word, but
Yeah, so can we anchor in what we've done?
mhm.
And are we focusing on anchoring it in Hawaii where with Christina?
That's where it needs to, yeah, it needs to be anchored there.
And also in the grid?
And in the grid both, yeah. It's
Okay.
like you've got a bottom anchor on Earth and then a top anchor in the grid.
Mhm.
Mm. Okay.
And that light gold work going around is protecting it, not letting it out. It's locked in the timeline.
And just keeping in mind that we have this one more time, this activity.
Right.
So if there's anything remaining, which actually I feel that there is a completion for this particular one.
Yeah.
If there's anything remaining, we can definitely address that on Thursday.
Okay.
Okay, so I feel like the grid is anchored.
Yeah.
Are others in agreement with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Christina, do you feel anchored?
Yes. I imagine for each corners, I pull a string and anchored in Hawaii. So it's good.
Somebody did
Awesome.
good job, girls. I don't know who it was. Who knows? Could have been anybody. But good job, girls.
Yeah, good job, everybody. This has been wonderful.
And it's 12:12.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. Thank you for all angels, archangels, ascended masters, star team, star family, light workers, interdimensionally. Thank you. We hold this at all levels and layers of our being and embrace optimum health and well-being multidimensionally.
Thank you, dragons.
Amen.
So it is.
Everybody, and so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So it is.
And so it is.
Ooh, I'm in my Merkaba. I forgot. I need to come back. Bring me back, John.
Awesome. So I can transfer host to you if you guys want to have snuggle time, but I need to hop on this other call.
Actually, yeah, and I'm gonna go too, but I just wanted to honor Jules' time and say thank you so much, everybody, for showing up. If there is some snuggle time or some things that need to be said, definitely we can stick around for that, but let's let Jules get to her thing.
Yep. And
Thank you. Thank you, Jules.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you guys for just today. It was really amazing just to, I'm trying to make you.
it's okay. Are we feeling complete? Does anybody have a last statement and then we can just all hop off? I think we're good. So why don't we just
I'm
dig
good.
in? See you guys Thursday night.
I'm good.
All right.
See you guys Thursday night
Thursday
then.
night.
Okay,
Bye.
see you
Hey,
then.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Love, blessings.
Bye.
Bye.